Max here for slurv.com, and we're going to talk GPP strategies once again for this huge slate on Tuesday, April 26th. All right, so yesterday was a bit of a mixed bag for us with some of the picks that we made. Miggy did really well after his day off on Sunday. He decided to go nuts and hit a couple of home runs and a double, so that was pretty good. Tiger stack wasn't great. Let's see what else. Today's slate we have Coors Field and a bunch of other interesting spots. So let's jump right into it. Yesterday I talked about pitching first, then hitting. Today I kind of want to talk about Coors Field first, which I feel like ties into pretty much everything that's going on today. So Cole, who's starting for Pittsburgh, is exactly the kind of guy that should do well at Coors. Of course, he could also give up like 6 bombs, who knows. But he has high ground ball and strikeout numbers. And his pitchers, which are predominantly good fastball, good slider, translate really well to Coors Field. So I feel like I'm not sure I want to pick on him with the high-priced bats on from the Colorado side. They're also not really projected to do that well by Vegas, so maybe we should cool off on those guys for a bit. As far as the high ownership on the Pittsburgh bats, I feel like they're facing a lefty in De La Rosa, who is kind of like a soft tosser. It's not that great. I don't know if I want to pay it from McCutchen or Marte. If you have the money, by all means. But guys like Jordy Mercer, especially if he's leading off, and maybe Harrison if he's batting higher, and Freeze are pretty good options. Okay, so now let's kind of backtrack and jump into the pitching. There's kind of a million different ways you can go today. I mean, you have Kershaw, who's insanely expensive, but also insanely awesome. So I don't see how he's a bad option. I mean, if you have the money, by all means, spend up on him. I think his ownership will be lower than usual due to the amount of guys above 10K today. And also the fact that he is like 13,000, which is expensive. So Sale was skipped over yesterday against the Blue Jays. He's going today. I think that he's also going to have lower ownership because he's facing the Blue Jays in Toronto, which is always a park that is awesome for right-handed hitters, and Toronto has a lot of them. So I think he has strikeout upside also. Blue Jays are in the top 10 in strikeouts this year so far. So I think we can maybe pick on them a little bit there. I think he's a great GPP play, and I think I'm going to have some of him today for sure. Scherzer, I think, is too close to price and to Kershaw. And even though he's been, underperforming, he could definitely do really well today. There's also some storm stuff going on today in that game. So watch the weather for the Washington-Philly game. Keuchel, I think, has too many red flags for me right now. He does way better at home. He's on the road. I know Seattle has a lot of lefties, and I mean, I'm assuming they're probably going to start some of their righty bats today, play a little bit of a platoon thing going on. But his velocity's down a couple miles an hour this year, and he usually needs people to chase his pitches outside the zone. But this year, he has had a lot of people not chase those pitchers, and he's been walking a lot more guys. His walk rate's up. So maybe people have picked up on the fact that, he throws a lot of pitches outside the zone. I don't know. I'm not sure. But he's still, 10K and up, and I think that's a bit too expensive for today with the many options that we have. Price is interesting for me. I think he's my favorite play above 10K. His Sierra and his ERA have a huge disparity, and we saw that Archer had the same disparity. I talked about it yesterday, where he's getting a really unlucky, and you saw how well Archer did yesterday against Baltimore. So I think, Price could be due for a follow-up game. I have to apologize if you guys hear my dogs barking in the background. I'm actually at home today doing this. So please ignore the barking. Let's see what else. Cueto is another guy that we have. I just really don't see the upside for him. Um, he has a very low strikeout rate, and I really just think that Cueto's probably never a guy I play. I mean, the only reason I would play him today is because he's facing the Padres. But I don't know. We saw how they barely struck out against Waka last week, so I could see another one of those games for Cueto today. I also think maybe he will probably be higher owned than we would like also. So jumping down below 10K, my favorite guys here, and my probably favorite guy today is Hendricks. I've been trying to pick on the Brewers because of their multitude of righty bats for like a couple of weeks now, and it has not worked out that great, but they have a really high strikeout rate, and I don't know, I just like the way Hendricks sets up against them. Also, right now, the winds at Wrigley are blowing in at like 20 miles an hour, which is always a big boost to pitchers. So I like Hendricks today to pair with one of your 10K guys. Another guy I like today is Carnes against Houston. Houston has likes to strike out a lot. They like to swing and miss, and Carnes has some sneaky strikeout upside today, I think. So take a look at him. Also in the Seattle park that does not allow homers is pretty key. I don't see the upside with Volquez. I think Angels are hitting a bit better, and he's not really doesn't strike out that many guys. And in GPPs, we're looking for strikeout upside. My other guy that I want you guys to take a look at is Cole, who I was talking about earlier at Coors. I think he sets up really well for Coors Field, and he's so cheap for a guy that's usually around 10K just because he's at Coors today. I think he could be a sneaky play for his price today. The other guy I want to talk about is Velasquez, who I think will be lower owned after burning everyone last week. He only threw like 70 pitches last week, was taken out in the fifth inning. So I think maybe he's a good place to go today. Although, remember, I mentioned that there are some storms going on in that area today. So watch the weather. Let's move on to hitting real quick and hit my favorite stacks. In no particular order, there are the White Sox. Like the Red Sox lefties versus Whistler. Last week he faced the Dodgers, and I started a bunch of Dodgers lefties against him, and it did not work out. But I think I'm going right back there with Red Sox. If Ortiz plays, great. I'm going to have him in a lot of spots. If he doesn't, let's take Shaw, maybe Jackie Bradley. Hit a bomb yesterday, so he could be heating up. He got really hot last year, so he's a streaky hitter. I like Oakland today against Pelfrey, who's pretty much, I don't know, the equivalent of your high school gym teacher throwing fastballs at this point. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but he has like a 12% strikeout rate and a 4.68 xFIP. So Oakland lefties could be sneaky today. You know, Reddick and Coughlin and all those guys. They're cheap also, so you can maybe fit in 10K pitchers with them. I like the Twins against Mr. Anderson. He's not very good at pitching either. He's a reverse splits pitcher, and the Twins have a lot of righty power. So maybe we can play some Twins today. Cardinals are the launching pad, which is Chase Field. I did not like them yesterday, but I was obviously dead wrong. Even against Greinke, they put up good offensive stats yesterday. So today, against a worse pitcher, I like Carpenter, Adams, maybe Wong will bat higher in the order, hopefully. He has good speed-power combination. Last but not least, I like the Yankees in Texas. I was talked into them yesterday a little bit, even against a lefty pitcher today. They're facing a pretty crappy righty, so the usual guys like McCann, Teixeira, Beltran, Ellsbury, Gardner at the top of the order all look good to me. There's also some storm warnings there, so watch the weather there as well. A special stack for you guys that I'd like to mention are the Tigers. They kind of broke out yesterday to today. They're facing a lefty in Rich Hill, who I actually really like. I think he's pretty talented, has good strikeout upside, but righties, Tigers just hit lefties really, really well. And I think they're going to be really low owned today. So I think maybe that's not a bad place to go. That's about it. As always, I will be in the Slurv chat room today, probably until lock, talking GPP strategy. So stop on by and join the conversation. All right, see you guys tomorrow.